Journey IFC strives to create safe spaces to worship God. Know that you are welcome just as you are, regardless of religious background or lack thereof, skin color, political affiliation, sexuality, age, culture, or any other label you own or society throws on you. You are welcomed and celebrated here just as you are.
Today's reading is from the Jesus story called Matthew. It's a story where Jesus asks, "Who am I?" It's about identity. Now, when Jesus came into the center of the district of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say the Son of Man is?" And they said, "Some say John the Baptist, others Elijah, and still others Jeremiah or one of the other prophets." He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." And Jesus answered him, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven. I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." Then he sternly ordered the disciples not to tell anyone that he was the Messiah.
Like I mentioned, keep doing your hand stuff. Don't feel like you have to look at me. That's okay. Feel free to make this however you want. If you just got here, feel free to, you can come grab a page and get started as well. But the questions that we have in this reading today, Jesus starts with, "Who do people say that I am?" It's the question that he asked his closest friends, his community. And then he follows that with, "Who do you say that I am?" It would seem that the next possible question Jesus could have asked would have been, "Who do I say that I am?" Using the Enneagram, we have been asking ourselves questions much like Jesus was asking. For weeks and weeks, we have been looking at character descriptions of the 9 different personality types associated with the Enneagram. We have discussed how the world sees us, how those close to us see us, and ultimately we have learned how we see ourselves. We have been searching for identity much like Jesus with his disciples. Many of us have typed ourselves by this point, stating that one number stuck out to us or connected to our reality. You may be a 6 or an 8. You may even claim a wing by now. I don't know if we've gotten there. But as a wrap up, let us quickly review the 9 types so we don't forget all the work that we have done together. As we can see in this slide right here, this is a familiar image, one we have looked at for the past several weeks. But now it is blank. It's just a bunch of numbers and names and a weird symbol. So starting at type 1, we have the perfectionist, or as we might want to call, the reformer. Ones are driven, organized, and justice-oriented types. They have a deep fear of being wrong or morally corrupted. They desire to live a life that is good and just. And so my question is, who are our ones here? Do you have any ones? Okay, you have some ones. So now we have our type 2 called the helper. 2s are caring, nurturing, generous, and possessive types. They fear rejection or being deemed unworthy of love. 2s need to be needed, and they want to be as helpful as possible so that they can be significant to those around them. Who are our 2s today? Okay, got some 2s. And our type 3, the achiever. These are our success-oriented, high-excelling, and image-conscious types. They fear being seen as being incompetent or looking unsuccessful. They want to gain respect and honors through their achievements. Who are our 3s? How many 3s today? 1 3s. Okay, we need to get more 3s is what I'm learning. Okay, so type 4 is the individualist. These are our creatives who live in the world of emotions. They can be dramatic, sensitive, and highly imaginative. 4s fear being plain or being emotionally cut off. And they crave being unique, and they want to be seen as people who do not follow the crowd, but instead live an authentic life of their own. Do we have any 4s here? Okay, got a 4. Then we have type 5. These are our intellectuals here. They are called the investigators. These people can be cerebral, perceptive, sometimes isolated. They want to protect their resources and limit what they do out of efficiency. 5s fear being ignorant, and they desire to be capable and knowledgeable. Any 5s today? Okay. Then we have our type 6. This is the loyalist. These are our security-oriented friends who are anxious at times and very responsible. They fear fear itself, and they are afraid of being without support. 6s long to protect those they are loyal to along with themselves. How many 6s do we have? Any today? No, we're missing them, but I know we do have some. Our 7s are called the enthusiasts. These are our outgoing thrill seekers who run from pain. 7s can be spontaneous and a bit scatterbrained, and they long to be happy and fully satisfied. They are also called the entertaining optimists, which is a fun name. Do we have any 7s today with us? We've got a 7 over here, okay. So we have the type 8, the challenger. 8s are powerful, sometimes domineering, and very protective types. They do not run from confrontation, but instead they use confrontation to connect. 8s fear being weak or powerless, and they do all that they can to protect those within their circle, especially those without power. Are there any 8s today? No 8s? No 8s, okay. And then finally, our type 9s are the peacemakers. These are the receptive, easygoing, and sometimes complacent types that want to keep both internal and external peace at all costs. 9s fear being in conflict and losing relationships. Their deep desire is to have inner stability and peace of mind. Is there any fellow 9 along with me? We've got a lot of 9s here, okay. Man, we're just a peaceful crew, I guess. Well, that's it. That's all the Enneagram. That's all 9 types. We've done it. We have covered this full spectrum of the Enneagram, at least dipped our toes in most of it. So my question for all of us is, now what? Do we live our lives under these new labels, these numbers that we've claimed? Do we constrict ourselves to these boxes, or do we learn to grow beyond our type? The Enneagram was designed to help us grow. And using the Enneagram to justify or explain away our actions is to misuse this ancient tool. To say, no, this is just who I am, I'm a 9, so it's okay, won't cut it for us. Because from its inception, the Enneagram has been a way of searching deeper within to find how we present ourselves and how we cope with the world around us. It's a way of seeing that we are not alone and that we belong in this wonderful web of beings. But finding our types is just labeling the symptoms of our existence. In the story we read from Matthew, where Jesus asks his disciples about his identity, we see Jesus trying to get to the truth behind the truth. Jesus asks who the world says he is, and he gets answers like John the Baptist or some ancient prophet of old. But Jesus is not satisfied with that answer. He then asks, well, who do you all, my closest allies, say that I am? And Simon Peter, who was our spokesperson for the type 6 a couple weeks ago, answers him saying, you are the Messiah, the Messiah, the anointed one, the Son of the living God. And Jesus is elated because Simon Peter saw something in Jesus beyond the labels that the world had thrown on him. Instead, he saw a truth below the truth. But after all is said and done, Jesus wants to keep this identity a secret, for he fears what the world will do to him if he is caught claiming this identity as the Messiah. On my trip to Israel in January, I got to go to the region where Jesus actually had this conversation, where he asked these questions. And if you go to the next slide, Margaret, you'll see some pictures of the region. It's not very clear here, but it's a beautiful place. This is Caesarea Philippi, a region that at that time would have been a few days' journey away from where Jesus' hometown was in the region of Galilee. And this is in the northernmost part of Israel, even today. At the time of Jesus' life, this was a Gentile region, a place where a group of Jews talking about the Messiah would not be killed for claiming their newfound identities. Jesus took his friends here to get away and be safe and claiming who he was beyond what the world was calling him. In this beautiful oasis up here, Jesus could own who he was fully, surrounded by his people. And isn't that what we've been doing throughout the series? We have been claiming a newfound part of our identities in a safe place with safe people. But, here's the big but, what if these labels we are claiming are just a stop along the journey? What if these types are true, but below them there is a much deeper truth about who and whose we are? In the book, The Wisdom of the Enneagram by Riso and Hudson, which has been my resource that I've been using, thank you, Susan, for giving me your copy, we are told that we must keep going deeper as we grow. These labels or boxes that we find ourselves in are the places that we have chosen to put ourselves. This is how we chose to cope with the stressors of childhood, and this carried on into our adult lives, but this is not who we are. After all this work of, what's our Enneagram type? And I'm like, hey, but actually, maybe not. This is how we chose to cope, but there's something behind all of this that is deeper than that. Riso and Hudson share this tale in their book, a Sufi tale, about a locksmith to help us understand the purpose of the Enneagram, and I thought it was beautiful, so I wanted to share it with you all. Once there lived a metal worker, a locksmith, who was unjustly accused of crimes and was sentenced to a deep, dark prison. After he had been there a while, his wife, who loved him very much, went to the king and beseeched him that she might at least give him a prayer rug so he could observe his 5 prostrations every day. The king considered that a lawful request, so he let the woman bring her husband a prayer rug. The prisoner was thankful to get the rug from his wife, and every day he faithfully did his prostrations on the rug. Much later, the man escaped from prison, and when people asked him how he got out, he explained that after years of doing his prostrations and praying for deliverance from the prison, he began to see what was right in front of his nose. One day, he suddenly saw that his wife had woven into the prayer rug the pattern of the lock that imprisoned him. Once he realized this and understood that all the information he needed to escape was already in his possession, he began to make friends with his guards. He also persuaded the guards, that they all would have a better life if they cooperated and escaped the prison together. They agreed, since although they were guards, they realized that they were in prison too. They also wished to escape, but they had no means to do so. So the locksmith and his guards decided on the following plan. They would bring him pieces of metal, and he would fashion useful items from them to sell in the marketplace. Together they would amass resources for their escape, and from the strongest piece of metal that they could acquire, the locksmith would fashion a key. One night, when everything had been prepared, the locksmith and his guards unlocked the prison and walked out into the cool night, where his beloved wife was waiting for him. He left the prayer rug behind so that any other prisoner who was clever enough to read the pattern of the prayer rug, would also make his own escape. Thus, the locksmith was reunited with his loving wife, his former guards became his friends, and everyone lived in harmony. Love and skillfulness prevailed. Riso and Hudson add at the end of this that this traditional Sufi teaching story from Idris Shah can symbolize our study of the Enneagram. The lock is our personality, the prayer rug is the Enneagram, and the key is the work. Note that although the wife brings the rug in order to get the tools, the locksmith has to create something useful for his guards. He cannot get out alone or for nothing. Furthermore, during the whole time he was praying for deliverance, the means of his liberation was literally right under his nose. Although he never saw the pattern or understood its meaning, one day, however, he woke up, saw the pattern, and then had the means to escape. The heart of the story is clear. Each of us is in prison. We only have to awaken to read the pattern of a lock that will allow us to escape. We are meant to be more than just a number. And in this community, with the help of those around us, we can find the answers to who we are right in front of our own eyes, woven into the fabrics of our beings. I invited you all to take a piece of paper and trace your hand on it and cut it out and refinish. And each color of paper represents a different Enneagram type, but each hand represents who you are right now. I was actually inspired by something that I did a long time ago at a little church in my hometown in Plainview, Texas. And if you go to the next, you're there. You're a step ahead of me, look at that. So this is the youth room of my church in Plainview, First Presbyterian Church in Plainview, Texas. And there was a tradition, whenever you joined the youth group, which was around 6th grade, you got to pick out paint and put your handprints on this wall here. And all my siblings were all older, all had already done it, and I wanted my hands up there so bad. And so whenever I finally was in 6th grade and I was joining youth group, I got to place my hands on the wall, and I chose green and yellow there. I don't know why, but you also put your graduation date, and it was a big moment. It was a sense of like, I'm a part of this group now. I have an identity, this is who I am. But when I was in the seminary, my pastor died, and I went back home to see his funeral. And I went to this room because I was just curious to look at the handprints. And I went back to this marker, this place that I'd been in 6th grade many, many years ago, and I just wanted to see what my hands looked like. And so I took this picture of my hand next to it to see how much I had grown and changed throughout the years. It was who I was into. I would not pick those colors today. I don't know why I picked them then. But it was just cool to be like, that's who I was then. And this is who I am now. Today you're invited to bring your handprint up, and we're going to place it on this poster board that I have under the table over here. And this is going to help us remember who we are right now. It is just a marker on the road of liberation. Like the locksmith, we are being free to learn more about ourselves beyond the walls of the prison and the boxes we find ourselves in. We are being free to find the truth of who we are below the truth of who we claim to be. These handprints reveal who we are and who we used to be, much like my 6th grade handprints on that wall in Plainview, Texas. I have outgrown that, but I still love that that moment is sealed in history with some green and yellow paint. And know that who you are right now will be sealed in your handprint that you're cutting out right now. But we do this knowing that we are made for something more than we can call ourselves or what others can call us. No label will fit forever. We are more than these labels, and we are more than our numbers. But there is truth below those truths that we will continue to seek. So today we celebrate the journey we have just walked through the Enneagram as we see where we are going next. Knowing that there is truth behind the labels and knowing that we cannot do this work alone. And also remembering that the answers are right in front of our eyes if we just become aware enough to perceive them. May we be blessed in our continued search for who we are. May it be so. Amen.
You'll be fine. Don't worry. Heard this song before? You know you can sing along, stand up if you want to, laugh if you want to. We got Julie on percussion. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't cry, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Whatever your number is, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me, stand by me. Stand together, my friends.
Well, think about it. Yeah, we're at the end of another series and maybe found out a little stuff about each other, or maybe not. But I ask you this: how many people traced your non-dominant hand rather than your dominant hand? I traced my dominant hand also.
No, my non-dominant.
Oh, I traced my dominant hand because that's my right hand. Interestingly enough, isn't it? It's one of those things. It comes with number 7. But here's the point. We're not only a community of hands, we're a community of chorus. And as I was talking with Deanna, we are all so very different, but the one thing that we have in common is harmony in general. Remember, you are the chorus wrought by our great Creator. And in this day and age, we tend to listen to the disharmony and the discord, just like bagpipes. If you can get past the droning and hear the melody in it, it's actually beautiful music. So I encourage you this week, through everything that's going on in the world, don't let it get you down. Listen past the droning of the world and listen to the beautiful melody that our Creator has bestowed upon us in humanity. Go in peace.